Welcome to yet another episode of Let's Talk Tobago. I'm Davia Chambers, and this week we're doing things a bit differently. We're taking you to Shaw Park Complex for the Tobago Day Awards 2018.
Good evening and welcome to the Tobago Day Awards 2018. My name is Avian Parks, and it is my honor and pleasure to be with you this evening to chair this evening's proceedings. This evening, I just want to highlight very quickly two portions of the Bible. Give honor where honor is due, and charity begins at home. And this evening, right here at Shaw Park Complex, we're doing just that. We're giving honor to those who have served and continue to serve Tobago in various areas and spheres. And we're also showing them our love, appreciation, and gratitude for the work that they have done and continue to do. This evening, we have persons and one group collecting awards in various areas: sport, culture, community, and other areas. And we really want to say thank you to them, and we want to encourage and support them. I want you at this time to give all our awardees present this evening a hearty round of applause. At this time, help me to welcome our Chief Administrator of the Tobago House of Assembly and also Chairman of the Awards Committee. And I want you to give him a special round of applause because, as you might know, this will be his last Tobago Day Awards as Chief Administrator of the Tobago House of Assembly. So help me welcome, very lustily, Mr. Ray Sandy.
It is indeed my privilege and pleasure on behalf of the Tobago House of Assembly to welcome you to the 38th anniversary of Tobago Day, formerly known as Assembly Day. This ceremony provides us with an opportunity to celebrate what is good and noble among us, and other people striving to make our lives meaningful and positively impacting on our fellow citizens. Tobago Day and this award ceremony can be seen as a beacon in a world that some view as darkened with negativity, hopelessness, and despair. As a progressive people, we must rise, shake off the negative shackles that tend to burden us, and work to enhance the illumination of that beacon with hard work, dedication, and commitment. Individually, we must let our light shine so that collectively we can dispel the darkness hovering around us, so that men and women, I might add, can see our good works and associate themselves with our positive contributions and determine to do better for the benefit of ourselves, our families, and our community and neighbors. The awardees being honored today have made their mark, not to receive public adoration for their contributions, but to give of their best in the field that they have chosen or perhaps destined to lead. They clearly enjoy what they were doing and were passionate in executing their task. And for this, we who have benefited from their labor of love are indeed grateful. Tonight, we join in celebrating their selflessness, determination, and sometimes foresight to make Tobago and the citizens of this island proud of their achievements. These awardees represent the good citizens that we must emulate. With these few words, I welcome you to this awards ceremony, and I hope will inspire many others to pursue their dreams and to make their mark in continuing to build and enhance the development of this island that we all love. Thanks for accepting the invitation of the Chief Secretary, the Honorable Kelvin Charles and Mrs. Charles, as we celebrate our chosen awardees on this historic day. May Almighty God continue to guide our path, and for those among us who refuse to be led, cause a change of heart and turn us into the followers of all that is good and noble. Have a happy Tobago Day, and let me take this opportunity to personally wish you a joyous Christmas and a bright and prosperous 2019. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Administrator Ray Sandy, for your very kind, warm, and encouraging words of welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to welcome the man who has been bestowed with the unenviable task of leading the island at this time, none other than our Chief Secretary, Honorable Kelvin Charles. Put your hands together as he makes his way to the podium.
Let me begin by wishing all of us here this evening, whether you were born in Tobago or not, a very happy and blessed Tobago Day as we celebrate 38 years of the current incarnation of the Tobago House of Assembly, established through Act 37 of 1980 and amended by Act 40 of 1996. For the truth be told, when we celebrate Tobago Day, we celebrate not only as ones who have the privilege of calling this gem of an island the land of our birth, but more so, we celebrate as brothers and sisters who reside in the space and who contribute to the development of Tobago and seek its best interest. This evening, I stand before you with immeasurable pride and joy for two reasons. The first, because this is my first Tobago Day Awards as Chief Secretary, and the second, which may even be more significant, because we are here to recognize and celebrate those who are contributing positively and constructively to the Tobago space, or who have contributed immensely over the years. If only for the latter reason, ladies and gentlemen, we ought to give a hearty round of applause. This year's Tobago Day Awards may be the first for many of you in this auditorium. And of course, I can't forget those of you logged on to our live stream on Facebook. This is the first time the Tobago Day Awards is being broadcast live, allowing for the wider public to be part of the celebrations. I am indeed grateful for the progress we are making in technology and also for the staff of the Department of Information who ensures our messages and information reach as many audiences as possible. This year marks the fourth year that the celebrations changed from Assembly Day to Tobago Day, when we celebrated the formation of the current incarnation of the Tobago House of Assembly and highlighted the divisions. Up until 2015, our celebration centered on the Tobago House of Assembly primarily, until we shifted focus to the celebration of Tobago as a whole, its uniqueness, its achievements, its people, its culture, its food. Tobago Day was born out of a desire to recognize that while we enjoy being one country, there are aspects of Tobago's history and environment that make us significantly different, and it is these differences, this very uniqueness, that we celebrate. Quite recently, the Division of Tourism, Culture and Transportation, through the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited, launched its new go-to-market branding strategy for Tobago with the tagline, Tobago Beyond Ordinary. Fellow Tobagonians, friends, brothers and sisters, on this 38th anniversary of Tobago Day, I am saying to all of us, Tobago, never settle for ordinary. The imagery of this year's Tobago Day advertisements says, I love Tobago. That is a very powerful statement. As we celebrate another year of Tobago Day, let us recommit, or in some cases, commit to loving Tobago. We must challenge ourselves to a new level of patriotism for this island, and by extension, our beloved country. It cannot be that those on the outside who visit our shores see more value and have greater appreciation for our own land far more than we do. Needless to say, we do not have a perfect island or country, and most certainly there are many things we can do better or should have done better. However, let me hasten to add that you may never find a perfect country in the world. For many nations continue to grapple with managing their own affairs without criticism, rebellion, or resistance. We only have to look at what happened in France last week with the riots to understand this. We must be determined to ensure that our shortcomings, or even our failures as a people, do not hinder us from saying, I love Tobago, and truly mean it. We can go a step further to do all that we can to make Tobago a better place. Let us endeavor to make this island as productive and progressive as can be, so that we are able to attain high levels of growth and advancement that will redound to our benefit and that of our future generations. Tobago, we must never settle for ordinary in any sphere of our existence. In our tourism industry, we have defined ourselves as beyond ordinary, given our natural beauty and the many things that one can find to experience and appreciate on this truly amazing island. However, we must also realize that our tourism product, as good and as competitive as it may be, is only as strong as we make it. Each of us must make a personal commitment to support the tourism industry. The time has come for us to understand that you do not have to be directly involved in the industry to have an impact on it. The truth is that by virtue of you residing in Tobago, you are part of the tourism landscape. It can be as little as saying good morning with a smile to a visitor, giving directions with a touch of patience, or even saying a warm and friendly welcome at an establishment. Tourism is all of us, and for it to truly succeed, it requires a shift in mindsets and attitudes of all of us. Tobago, never settle for ordinary in areas of commerce or business. It is no secret that we are in need of a more robust and dynamic private sector on the island that does not have to depend on the THA as its main client. Entrepreneurship and private enterprise must be encouraged more aggressively among our population, especially our youth. I was particularly heartened to see that this year, the organizers of the Tobago Day activities engaged the private sector. In the upcoming 2 days of Expo, this Thursday and Friday, there will be a heavy private sector presence. This is indeed a step in the right direction in our efforts to steer persons away from aspiring to work in the public sector only. This partnership between the THA and the private sector stakeholders is an opportunity to showcase viable alternatives to the already oversubscribed public sector. Tobago, never settle for ordinary in matters of governance. You are the employers of us politicians. You have a duty and responsibility to one, collaborate with us as we seek to transform this island through stronger communities, loving and stable families, a flourishing agricultural sector, and a booming tourism sector, along with a robust education system. And two, you have a duty and responsibility to hold us accountable while in office. Therefore, your support is imperative, and so too are our conversations with you. I encourage you to keep the lines of communication open as we are here to work with you and for you. Tobago, never settle for ordinary in social matters. It was Abraham Lincoln who over 140 years ago said, "The strength of a nation lies in the homes of its people." My brothers and sisters, some call this statement a timeless truth. I say this statement aptly encapsulates the spirit of this administration. I will continue to echo the sentiment. We will further develop and build this island community by community. We are gathered here today for this very reason, to honor and recognize persons who have demonstrated strong character or who have served the Tobago community well or have attained a praiseworthy achievement. I must highlight that in their own spheres of excellence or success, they did not settle for the ordinary. It was their going beyond the ordinary that enabled them to be our honorees this evening, and for that I am tremendously pleased. Please give them a round of applause. Fellow Tobagonians, brothers and sisters, friends, as we celebrate another Tobago Day, and very soon the milestone of the 40th in 2 years, let us challenge ourselves. I have said it time and time again. Progress of Tobago will not come through inertia or through doing things the same way we have always done them. Progress of Tobago can only come through metanoia, a transformation of one's heart or mind. As we get ready to enter into a new year, I encourage you to challenge yourself to be the change in this society that you want to see. Don't wait for anyone else to do it. As each of us takes personal responsibility to reflect, introspect, and transform, it will affect and impact the whole. This evening, again, I urge you to never settle for ordinary and let our new mantra as persons residing on this beautiful island be, I love Tobago. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached an exciting moment, the moment we have truly gathered here for. This is where we'll have the presentation of awards, and we have awards being given out in gold, silver, bronze, the Chief Secretary's Award, the Calypso Rose Award, and the Shadow Award. Our first award this evening, Tobago Medal of Honor Gold for distinguished and outstanding service to Tobago in the sphere of music. This award goes to Mrs. Gwyneth Armstrong.
Music has always been a part of Mrs. Armstrong's life. She was exposed to it in her home by her mother, who gave her formal training through playing the piano, and was ably supported by her older brother Horace Edwards, another avid musician. As a student of Bishop's High School, she honed her music skills by accompanying the singing of hymns at the morning assemblies and the writing of external examinations with the Trinity College of Music in London. Mrs. Armstrong's involvement is best described as a labor of love. When approached, she rarely ever turned away someone seeking to expand their musical knowledge. She saw how musicians were able to empathize with each other, tolerate diverse cultural expressions for what they might be worth, and worked assiduously to achieve excellence. Because of this and her love for music, her legacy has always and will always be fostering and engendering an appreciation for all genres of music. This evening, her children feel extremely proud of her accomplishments. They are humbled to know that their mom is recognized by the Tobago community for her passion.
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, Mrs. Armstrong could not be with us to collect her award, so collecting on her behalf is her niece, Miss Myrna Edwards. Our next award this evening, Tobago Medal of Honor Gold for distinguished and outstanding service to Tobago in the sphere of tourism. This is being awarded posthumously, and this award goes to Dr. Robert T. York, deceased.
The Venerable Robert Theophilus York was born on May 4, 1932 in Tobago. The second of 8 siblings, Robert's parents Adam and Jane York came from Buku and Patience Hill respectively. A structural engineer by profession, Mr. York graduated from the Hammersmith College in London. He was a chartered structural engineer registered with the Board of Engineering in Trinidad and Tobago, a fellow of the Institution of Structural Engineers and the Institution of Civil Engineers, United Kingdom. However, despite a successful career in engineering, Mr. York possessed an undying love for tourism. In 1985, while Carlos Dillon, his very close friend, was managing Mount Irving Hotel, it was placed on the market for sale, and Mr. Dillon encouraged Mr. York to purchase it.
And he did so because of his love, one, for Tobago, and two, for he loved the tourism area.
This was notable as he was the first Tobagonian to purchase a hotel of that size, and he kept all staff employed. Robert York was also known for spearheading numerous tourism events on the island.
Tobago Jazz Festival that was being run first by Angostura and then taken over by the THA. He decided to put on a fringe show, which was the Mount Irving Jazz on the Beach. And he imported musicians from all over the world.
When he was alive, he hosted many golf tournaments in Tobago and is partly responsible for the success of local golfers like Carlos Sexy Baines. Friend Carlos Dillon attests that Robert York's contribution to tourism was sterling, and the team at Mount Irving feels proud that Mr. York is being honored posthumously for his outstanding contributions.
Ladies and gentlemen, collecting on behalf of Robert T. York is his daughter, Mrs. Jacqueline York Westcott. Our next award this evening, Tobago Medal of Honor Silver, for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of education and community service. This award is also being awarded posthumously, and it goes to Mrs. Annetta Archer.
Mrs. Annetta Archer, commonly known to many as Teacher Baby Joe, was born in the year 1924. She was a devoted wife, mother, and a teacher who also had a passion for community service. As an educator, she was responsible for tutoring hundreds of Tobagonians. Committed to formal and informal education, not only did Teacher Baby Joe teach children, she also taught skills to members of the community who subsequently used those skills to support their families. Mrs. Annetta Archer taught many successful people in Tobago. She was instrumental in the opening of the Child Welfare League Nursery and Daycare at the Milford Court Plaza and the training of many teachers. Her career spanned 76 years. In 2006, Mrs. Archer was the recipient of the Hummingbird Medal Gold in Education. This evening, Mrs. Annetta, Teacher Baby Joe Archer, receives the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver posthumously for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of education and community service.
Collecting the award on behalf of Mrs. Annetta Archer is her daughter, Miss Charmaine Archer. Our next award this evening, Tobago Medal of Honor Silver, for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of sport. And this award goes to Ms. Martha Archer.
"65-year-old Martha Archer has made significant contributions to sport in Tobago, particularly in the area of netball. She began her 48-year stint in netball at age 17 with the Tobago Netball League, the Trinidad and Tobago Netball Association, and America's Federation of Netball Associations. Over the years, she has labored to ensure that Tobagonians were exposed and became certified in coaching and umpiring the sport. Ms. Archer had the privilege of being the first Tobagonian to be elected president of the Trinidad and Tobago Netball Association. The hard-working Ms. Archer was responsible for and successfully hosted an under-23 netball series in Tobago with countries like Grenada, Guyana, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and, of course, Tobago participating. Her wealth of knowledge during her 48 years' involvement in the sporting arena is well respected locally, regionally, and internationally, as she's often called upon for information by students, archive research specialists, and administrators throughout the netball fraternity. She is the recipient of the THA Sport Award Icon of the Year 2015. This evening, Ms. Martha Archer is the recipient of the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago in the sphere of sport.
Our next award this evening, Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of community service. This award goes to Mr. Kenneth Washington.
Born in the year 1940, Mr. Kenneth Washington, a retired public servant, was always service-oriented. He worked in the Tobago Public Service for 59 years and was very active in the community. The Tobago Boys Brigade was a source of immense joy for Mr. Washington, and as such, he played a pivotal role in the organization.
Started out as a junior regular member of the group, and went right through the ranks until he became the head of it. So that for sure was one of the organizations that he was a part of that really had a huge impact.
He was known for initiating major events in the Boys Brigade, such as coordinating overseas trips so the group would travel and be recognized internationally. To date, Kenneth Washington continues to be well respected in his community.
I think deep down it would be safe to say that he's honored, you know, to be recognized in this way. I am a part of the whole Boys Brigade movement as well. Yeah. And it was because of all of this involvement with him that I decided to get involved myself. So he's happy that he has been recognized in this way, and he's happy that I can see how being a part of a situation like that, an organization like that, can benefit.
This evening, Mr. Kenneth Washington receives the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service in the sphere of community service.
Unfortunately, Mr. Washington could not be with us, so collecting on his behalf is his daughter, Ms. Sandra Washington. Our next award this evening, Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of culture. Ladies and gentlemen, this award goes to Royal Sweet Fingers Tambourine Band.
When you hear the sweet sound of tambourine music anywhere in Trinidad or even across the world, you can bet it's a recording being played back or a local tambourine band playing. This is according to Lawrence Crooks, leader of the Royal Sweet Fingers, a Tobago tambourine band that has made a name for itself around the world.
Royal Sweet Fingers tambourine band, clear over 45 years old. Clear over. Because Clayton Balfour, he was there with Willie, Sam, David. These are people who passed.
The music of Royal Sweet Fingers is so sweet that they've been offered numerous opportunities to represent Tobago in countries like England, Germany, Holland, Denmark, and Vienna, to name a few.
We, Royal Sweet Fingers tambourine band, traveled extensively at no cost really from our pocket, although nothing is free. But because of this special skill, and the thing about it is that tambourine music is indigenous to Tobago and Tobago only.
Mr. Crooks feels honored to be receiving the Tobago Medal of Honor Bronze for loyal and devoted service beneficial to Tobago in the sphere of culture.
Some people see it as I said before, that is waste time. It's not waste time. You do things today and it bear the fruit tomorrow. So we are very elated, we are happy to be honored.
Ladies and gentlemen, collecting on behalf of the Royal Sweet Fingers Tambourine Band this evening, we have Lawrence Crooks, Prince Williams, and Carl James. The other members are Japhet Almond, Don Williams, and Alwyn Mills. Our next award this evening, the Chief Secretary's Award for Outstanding Contribution and Significant Achievement in 2018 in the sphere of women's health awareness and advocacy. Ladies and gentlemen, this award goes to none other than Mrs. Coris Archer Kwashinansis.
Mrs. Coris Nancis turned adversity into advocacy after dealing with fibroids for a long time. When she discovered she had approximately 50 fibroids in her stomach, the largest as big as a baby, she later had surgery to remove them.
So my entire experience led me to this point. When I was completing my first degree in media and communications, I had to do a communication awareness project. So I had a CAP project. And that is where Fibroid Awareness Campaign Tobago was born. The idea to go into schools and educate young women like myself so that they won't suffer unnecessarily like I did, and they would have the information.
Fibroids Awareness Trinidad and Tobago was birthed from this experience. The campaign was launched at Bliss Restaurant and Bar, where persons were able to gather and be educated on this health issue.
I had a completely sold out event. We doubled it as a fundraiser so that we could continue the work we started. And the feedback was phenomenal and continues to be phenomenal.
This evening, Coris is grateful to be honored with the Chief Secretary's Award for Outstanding Contribution and Significant Achievement in 2018 in the sphere of women's health awareness and advocacy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Coris Archer Kwashinansis. And it's such a pleasure to have three generations represented here this evening in the form of Coris, her mother, Martha, and of course her aunt collecting on behalf of her grandmother. It just goes to show what solid family work can do and can produce. And so we want to just continue to encourage them. Our next award this evening, the Calypso Rose Award for the Performing Arts. And this award goes to Miss Karen Berkeley Charles.
Karen Berkeley Charles hails from the cultural village of Pembroke, or the place some refer to as the cultural capital of Tobago. This cultural stalwart has been heavily involved in the performing arts, more so cultural dancing and folk singing for decades. However, dance has been Karen's real passion. She has participated in many cultural events over the years, namely the Best Village competition.
And so from that Best Village era, I was just like about 10 or so years old. And I had the opportunity to be on the big stage. And being in and around this, this activity, I started learning the traditions from the elder people.
As Karen grew older, she became heavily involved in the Tobago Heritage Festival. She was also a part of the Pembroke Folk Performers. Today, Mrs. Berkeley Charles tutors dance to many individuals and also pays homage to some notable people who've made a great impact on her life as a performer.
So that is Imelda Cruikshank, Adina Davis, James Murray, you know, those people. And there are a lot more.
This evening, Karen feels honored to be recognized for her contribution to the performing arts in Tobago.
So we now go to our next award, which is the Shadow Award for Oral Tradition. And this award goes to none other than our master drummer, Mr. Dominic Williams.
Master drummer Dominic Williams relocated to Tobago from Trinidad with his mom, brother and sister in the 1990s. This master drummer began his drumming career at the age of 21.
Master drummer from Trinidad by the name of Mr. Wayne Guerra, who would have discovered that talent outside a supermarket. And he came out, he said, "You sound like you could be a drummer." I exclaimed, "I don't think so, I've never played the drums." So he invited me to a session. And when I got there and I saw how fast his hands were moving, right there and then I fell in love with the drums.
His skills and passion developed over the years as he began performing with various dance and folk groups in Tobago. His potential was then noticed by local culture icon Mrs. Annette Alfred. Thereafter, he became much more involved in culture and the arts.
I would have been to quite a few places: Italy, Paris, London, and I must say Africa, where I would have studied West African drumming.
Dominic has had the privilege of tutoring in countries such as Antigua, Barbados, Grenada, to name a few. Here in Tobago, he manages Hands of Rhythm and tutors the Mason Hall folk performers. He is also heavily involved in tutoring at schools across Tobago, as he is employed at the Division of Tourism, Culture and Transportation as a drum tutor. Dominic confesses that he can't see himself doing anything else but playing the drums.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dominic Williams.
Beside me is one of the awardees this evening, Mrs. Corey's Archer Kwashi Nancis. She would have received the award, the Chief Secretary's Award for Outstanding Contribution and Significant Achievement in 2018 in the sphere of women's health awareness and advocacy. Now, Mrs. Nancis, tell me a little about Fibroid Awareness Trinidad and Tobago to begin.
All right, so if I could quote from the video that was done this evening, Fibroid Awareness Trinidad and Tobago was my way of turning adversity into advocacy. I was diagnosed at a very young age with multiple debilitating fibroids, and that journey led me to realize that essentially there was no support system and no place to really get information for me as someone who was recently diagnosed. Now, I was diagnosed in Jamaica and I couldn't find a support group there. I came home and I couldn't find a support group here either. And I quickly learned that it was a condition that was very prevalent. there was a lot of misinformation in this space, and so I sought to educate girls and women through an organization that could support, advocate, and just be there for women, because it's a condition, as I said, that is debilitating, and sometimes you feel like you're the only one. And to know that you're not alone and you can get correct information to make the necessary choices as it relates to treatment, lifestyle changes, that's the passion essentially. And tonight I'm really just excited, honored, and grateful. I am elated to have received the Chief Secretary's Award. The last year has been very exciting actually. I spent some time in California as an international fellow with the US government, and essentially what I learned there is what propelled the official registration of fibroid awareness Trinidad and Tobago. The work started since 2014, but really to make it visible and to really bring women on board, that started in the last year. And to be recognized for doing something that really came naturally, and I also say God is the one who really deposited in me the steps to take and the approaches as well. So to be honored for something like this, which I think is just destiny, is just humbling.
And congratulations, Mrs. Nancis. You've said it all actually, and you're doing an exceptional job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So you've just heard from Mrs. Corvise Nancis, and soon we're going to hear from another awardee. Me is a well-known lady in Tobago's cultural sector. She's Mrs. Karen Berkeley Charles, and she's been involved in the cultural art form for over 40 years. She has received an award this evening at the Tobago Day Awards 2018. Mrs. Charles, how do you feel to have been recognized?
Well, very, very elated. I feel, very honored to get to this point of receiving an award.
What advice do you have for young persons involved in the cultural sector?
That they should try to know more of their traditions and try to practice or else if they don't, we are going to lose what we have. The traditions, they're going to lose them.
Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Charles, and congratulations once again. We now return stage aside for entertainment here at Tobago Day Awards 2018. me is the Chief Secretary, the Honorable Kelvin Charles. He's going to tell us, firstly, what is the significance of the Tobago Day Awards?
Well, first of all, we got to remember that today represents 38 years since we would have a recommissioned or refashioned Tobago House of Assembly. Up until 2015, we used to celebrate Assembly Day, where the various arms of the Assembly used to go on display. Since then, it has been changed to Tobago Day, where we have, in fact, broadened the scope of the presentations, and we're going to have a number of stakeholders, including our business community and entrepreneurs, being part of the exposition. Now, more than ever, we want to demonstrate that there are persons in our society, in our community, who would have contributed immensely to where we are today. And therefore, the awards represent an occasion when we honor them for their contribution.
Definitely. And I know once persons are nominated, there's a process. So the committee would recommend whether any awards should be given or not. And then the Chief Secretary and the Executive Council would make the final decision. Could you tell us about that process?
Well, what I could say to you is that those persons who recommended were all accepted. We made absolutely no change to the recommendations of the committee.
And are you satisfied with the amount of nominations that came in this year?
Well, we are satisfied with the quality of those persons who have been nominated and the nature of their contributions. I am uncertain as to the number of applications because I didn't see those. I saw the recommended list.
And lastly, Honorable Kelvin Charles, what is the take-home message for Tobagonians with regards to Tobago Day 2018?
Well, we are saying to Tobagonians on this occasion, go beyond the ordinary. As you may be aware, we would have recently launched our go-to-market strategy with a tagline, Tobago Go Beyond the Ordinary. So we are saying, as we prepare ourselves for further government of Tobago, we want our persons to lift themselves up, to rise to the challenge. Do not settle for mediocrity. Let's go and push for excellence. And therefore we are saying, let's go beyond the ordinary.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Kelvin Charles.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys so much for dancing along with me. I hope that you're having a good time. So like I said, we're doing some Christmas music right about now. I've seen people just in their corner, just rocking by themselves. But I want to see all the rocking. And the way you're hiding behind nobody. Come on, how are we doing in the back here? Walking one of friends from Tobago. Christmas they reach in front the door. With a box bass and a banjo. A violin and a quattro. They said they always had a plan. What? To give me family a parang. They wake up their mommy right away. When they ring out with this love way. Get up and you were heading there back up crowing. Oh yeah. Madam Jeffrey, oh, get up. It's Christmas morning. Time to put some smoke in your kitchen. Oh yeah, it's Christmas morning. Madam Jeffrey, oh, wake up. It's Christmas morning. You were heading there back up crowing. Oh yeah, it's Christmas morning. Hey. We come over to my ladies looking beautiful in red this evening. Hello. Hey. Where is it? Mommy put us work on the fire and always just stay a little longer. Ham and bread on the table. White Hawk, she pull out a bottle. The music gets in my neighborhood. People are all sacks from out the bed. Come over and join the back and he won't stop singing at time. My Jeffrey, oh, wake up. It's Christmas morning. You were heading here back up crowing. Oh, girl, it's Madam Jeffrey, oh, it gets up. It's Christmas morning. Hope you know is White Oak are drinking. Oh yeah, it's Christmas morning.
That brings us to the end of this live production of Tobago Day Awards 2018, of course brought to you by the Department of Information at the Office of the Chief Secretary. Thank you so much for viewing.